Okay, I'm delighted to be joined in the downtown den now by Gemma McGowan. Gemma is part of the burgeoning hospitality sector in Liverpool and the Liverpool Hospitality Association. Obviously, that sector was one of the first into the crisis as far as the coronavirus was concerned. And Gemma, I know that you find it quite frustrating working at home at the moment, but just tell me what so far the impact of this has been on your business.
Well, I think to start off with, it was the uncertainty which still remains. But on that first week of when it seemed to be, the world was starting to kind of slow down, especially in the UK, being told to just avoid bars and restaurants was just such a major concern on that day, because we didn't know whether to open, didn't know whether to close, didn't know what to do with the staff. And I think because it was so unprecedented, nobody knew the answers and you couldn't turn to anybody. So that was, when staff are asking you for, or your team members are calling you or emailing you or wanting to speak to you to find out what's going on, and you've just got no answers to give them. Like, I love a problem and I love solving problems.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that nothing that you could do about it. So that first week was horrendous, worrying about my own family, worrying about my own parents, worrying about my business, and not knowing what order to put that worry in. Because you start worrying about your business and then, my God, I've got a mum and dad there, I should be worried about them. So you start worrying about your mum and dad, and then you think, I've got a team there, I should be worried about them, and just not knowing what to do. It was horrible. I spent a lot of time crying, spent a lot of time annoyed, I'm frustrated, really, and I seem to be coming over that a little bit now. I'm kind of a bit scared that I'm getting used to being in the house. I just hope when I go out again, I manage to be able to speak to people and don't enjoy being a recluse too much.
And in terms of, that initial shock obviously hit your sector hard, and clearly, Gemma, you weren't on your own in feeling that frustration. A little bit of anger as well, I guess, at the ambiguity, I suppose, of government advice, because they were saying to people, don't go to pubs, don't go out, don't go to hospitality venues, but equally they weren't giving you clear instructions to close down at that stage.
No, I think I was pleased as well, because using a little bit of common sense, you could see what had happened across the world. We weren't the first for this to have hit. So you could see that the government can't do everything on one day and give answers to everyone on one day. So as soon as they kind of give the hint that to avoid bars and restaurants, I kind of knew that they'd have to give some support. And thankfully that was only 24 hours later, so it wasn't too long to wait. But waiting for those 5:45, 5 o'clock news things in the first week, just hanging on every word to see how it was going to affect you and what answers then you could pass on to your team and pass on to your customers as well. Because we've got so many brides and grooms that just don't, it's just so uncertain, and again looking to us for answers. But we're getting the answers at the same time they are, just by watching the news.
Yeah. And I suppose the other relief for you, Gemma, when the Chancellor came up with this package of support, was that it then gave you a clear route out of the crisis. But I suppose important question to ask is, have you found accessing that support to be relatively easy?
No.
Okay.
I've been part of a WhatsApp group in Liverpool, like the Liverpool Hospitality, a lot of business owners and that in the community, and I found I've been getting a lot of support from them, really. And I know it might sound really daft, but knowing everybody is as worried as me kind of makes you feel a little bit more relieved, because you know that there's nothing that you're not doing, or there's nothing that you should be doing. And also the fact that when this is all over, I think we'll be a tighter community. I think in the past, a lot of bars and restaurants probably, and hotels probably saw each other as competition, whereas now, that definitely won't be the case. I think we'll find a lot of friendships out of this as well, and we'll be able to support each other's business, which will only be a good thing for Liverpool, really.
Yeah. Out of all negatives come positives, don't there? As an Evertonian, I know this, you see.
You should do up on that.
So just in terms of that financial help that's available, what have you been able to access at this point?
Well, we've got the grant that based on your rateable value that we've been able to put in for. We put in for that, I think it was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Liverpool Council put that online. We filled that in. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I can imagine that with the influx of applications, it might be a week or two before we see that starting to filter through. We've obviously had to furlough some of our team, which, you know, isn't, I wish it didn't have to, but knowing that the support is there for them to be able to get through the next few months, they're really pleased by that. And I think that with regards to, I've applied to my bank for a loan. Obviously the government is great in the support that they're giving to the team, but I've obviously got my own personal expenses that, you know, my own mortgage, my own family, income has basically disappeared because I'm a director of a business and pay myself on a small salary, and then the rest through dividends, through profit that we make. You know, virtually nothing each month really that's going to be coming through. So I have applied for a loan to see me through, you know, because once we open again, I think, you know, people that aren't in business don't realise that the staff overheads are covered in that. And I know there'll be no VAT, there'll be no suppliers that need paying. But that builds up, I think, in people's confidence in coming back to bars and restaurants, even when we are allowed to open, might not be there for some time. You know, we've got a lot of predominantly the Isla Gladstone's business is weddings, and a lot of people, even like July, August, September, October, are asking to move to next year. And I saw Martin Lewis is it Martin Lewis, the money man, or
the finance guy?
On this morning the other day, it said someone had rang about, you know, should they move their wedding? And his advice was, you know, you should move your wedding from August this year, move it to next year. And, you know, the wedding venue won't be out of pocket because they're getting that booking again. And I'm thinking, this is a money man saying this. No, we're not. We're losing that date again next year.
Yeah.
So it's a double whammy, really. And, you know, a lot of people will be scaling back their events as well because they'll still want to get married, but are they going to go for the upgrade on food? Are they going to go for the upgrade on wine? Are they going to reduce the numbers? So even though we may keep those bookings to next year, you know, the spend per head in a, you know, handed so bluntly as that is probably going to be a lot lower than it was this year. But then you start thinking like that and you think the world's in chaos. People are, you know, people are dying, you know, families are getting split up by everything that's going on. And here's me thinking about spend per head, and, you know, you feel like slapping yourself in the face and thinking there's bigger things to worry about at the minute. But then, you know, it's all going to come to an end and people are going to be looking to you for answers. So, you know, you go round in that circle constantly.
But I think crucially, Gemma, you know, and this is the point that we all have to bear in mind as we're coming through this, is that, you know, once we do get to the other side of this horrible situation, there needs to be an economic platform to build on. And I think that's why the Chancellor has been careful in terms of the way he's trying to manage this crisis, throw an awful lot of money at it, yes. But equally, if we don't have that platform, then, you know, this crisis turns into something that's going to be far longer term. And actually, you know, if you look at some of the commentary over the weekend in some of the newspapers, scientists and medical advisors now suggesting that we're going to see deaths in other areas of society through poverty, deprivation, through suicide rates going up. So I think the questions that you're asking are not only relevant, but important, because actually if business owners don't prepare now for what comes next, then we're going to get off to a false start rather than being able to hit the ground running.
I think for me, uncertainty is always my biggest anxiety. You know, as I say, I can deal with any problems that life throw at me as long as I can deal with them. But when everything's so uncertain and you're just waiting for news, waiting to find out, you know, basically the Isle of Gladstone's been mothballed now, and I can't see, you know, that's going to be a good few months before, you know, even when we are allowed to open, that business can start trading again. And you think, who's really going to want to go to an event with the worries in the back of the mind? You know, do you have to go to somebody's birthday party? Do you have to go to a wedding? no, you don't. So even though when we are all allowed back out, people aren't going to, I'm probably going to be attending these events for quite some time. I think there'll be a lot of parties as soon as we do open. And, as a business owner, it's hard because I obviously still want to carry on promoting the Isla Gladstone as a venue. But at the moment, I just think it's really insensitive if I was going to start advertising, do you want to book a wedding or do you want to book a party? It's quite crude really, isn't it? But then do I just press pause until I'm allowed to and then worry? I really, really don't know what to do.
It is. It's. I think a lot of businesses are feeling this way, sort of between a rock and a hard place, and clearly, we do have to keep one eye on the future. As I say, if we don't do that, then we're going to come out of this crisis in not a particularly good state. So for me, it's not business as usual. Of course, it can't be, but we still need to be talking about the future. We need to be talking positively about how we can promote and market what our product is. Because, as I say, we want to hit the ground running. We want people to hit the ground running when we come out of this. Because ultimately, Gemma, the worst thing that can happen is for hospitality venues such as your own to have that slow start. And then you're finding that you're having to lay people off. And by that point, there won't be that government help and support for them. 80% salary is only going to last whilst the shutdown takes place. So if people come out of this and they're not able to, as I say, hit the ground running, then you're going to be making an awful lot of people unemployed across the country. So for me, it isn't insensitive. I think it's practical and pragmatic to actually have a plan in place to say, right, this is where we're going next. I do take your point, though, and it's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see whether there has been a culture shift in terms of people wanting to congregate in big numbers. And for a venue such as the Isla Gladstone, that is going to be a crucial point.
I think weddings is obviously probably day and evening, daytime guests, whether you're close family and that you are going to go. But the likes of, we do a lot of charity events. So are they really going to, or corporate events? Is the right thing really in 3 months, 4 months time to be booking a corporate dinner and inviting 200 people to it? It was like the time of the financial crash. All the banks stopped doing corporate activity because it was frowned upon, showing spending money. But it'll be the opposite to this time. It'll be, we can't be seen to be promoting 300 people to gather in a room. It's insensitive. So we might keep the weddings, but all our corporate guests, and our large parties that don't have to happen, we'll probably see quite a massive decline in that. And the football as well. We do a lot of football hospitality. And I'd say 80% of the guests that attend the Isla Gladstone on a match day fly in or have travelled far and wide from around the country. Are they going to come? It's a hard one to say, really. And when's that going to be? As an Evertonian, I'm probably really pleased the season's kind of come to a standstill. But for us Liverpudlians, we wanted to see a positive end.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that will happen at some stage, and hopefully not too far away. But I think, again, great point that you raised there about international travel, because I can't imagine that's going to go back to normal anytime soon. There will be additional checks, I'm guessing, at borders for both coming in and out of the country. And then it's whether those countries actually encourage people to go away on trips that are non-essential, which I guess, the match. I know some of us think it's religion, but football is a non-essential activity. Final point, Gemma. I think you've made some really pertinent points this morning, if I may say, because you've talked very honestly and openly, I think, about the dilemmas that many business owners are facing at the moment and are thinking about at the moment. Because, like you say, we've all got families to care about. We do care about the health of our communities. But as I said, nonetheless, if we don't start thinking about the success of our economic future, then, we're not just talking about our own individual livelihoods here. We're talking about the livelihoods of the people that work for us. So, if you can just put your business hat on and put to one side those other obvious concerns that you have for the people around you,
Yeah.
What would you hope September, October, November looks like for the Isle of Gladstone, assuming that the government's policy of lockdown is positive?
I think, you know, for us, we are moving a lot of our events at the moment. A lot of people are wanting to move to next year, but some people are wanting to obviously continue with their events and weddings this year. So we're hoping that once we are allowed to reopen, and again, it's when we are allowed to reopen, is having back-to-back events and, you know, so many hours that the staff are delighted to be getting their money back in the bank account. That's, you know, how I'd really, really like to see it. And again, me and the team are still working with like a bit of a marketing plan for when we are ready to open. But again, at the moment, I can't advertise anything like that on social media, because it'd be, you know, it's really insensitive. You know, I wouldn't feel right doing it. When the timing's right, you know, we've had so many funerals. The worst events for us that we've had to postpone are the funerals, and we had about 3 or 4 in the first week that we've had to cancel. You know, when we were told that we had to close, and it was horrendous.
Yeah.
You know, you think of these poor people that just can't say goodbye to their loved ones.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've invited them all back for a celebration of life when the timing's right, which, you know, could probably be quite nice for them, rather than having the doom and gloom all in one day. It is seen as a celebration then. So we will be hoping to be able to do that for a lot of people once we reopen, and we'll be able to promote that to people, not in a money-making way, but more in a community way, because I know of so many people that have passed away in the past couple of weeks, not through this virus, but just through other means, that can't have funerals. So we were hoping to do a lot of celebrations of life, which can be seen as a positive thing, hopefully, and things for people to get together and enjoy being allowed to be together again. But we will be doing a good marketing plan. We will be, I think the team are really excited about getting back into work and getting around people, and hopefully there'll be a lot of positivity. There was a lot of negativity last year with, you know, people weren't spending as much money and stuff, whereas now, hopefully the only thing that you can hope for is that people come out of this positively and want to have events and want to celebrate, and, you know, and we can be a major part of that really for them.
Great. Gemma, thanks for your time today. And
no worries, thank you.
I mean, I think, you know, what you've demonstrated is that, like most business owners that I've spoke to during this period, your principal concern actually has been your staff and the team that you work with. Then, as you rightly said, the community, and then you get round to thinking about your business. And you've articulated that in a very effective way today. So thanks for that. And hopefully, as we go through the next couple of months, we can get you back on and let's have a chat about that marketing plan once it's up in place, because the Isle of Gladstone, one of Liverpool's jewel in the crown. If people don't know Liverpool or don't know where it is, then it's bang in between the 2 football stadia, a little bit closer to Liverpool Football Club, but nonetheless a great venue, and as you say, used for many charitable events, which I've had the pleasure to attend, and it's always a great venue. So good luck for the future, Gemma. Sure you'll come through this stronger than ever, and as I say, we'll hopefully speak to you again very soon.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Frank.
Cheers, Gemma. Thank you. Bye.